Hi, folks. Welcome to another episode of the Capture Guru. Sorry, I've been a little bit quiet, but with COVID, things are a little bit difficult and getting going in that. And yeah, today I'm really excited. I've got a friend and a person who's been doing photography for a long time who's joining me, and he's got a really exciting event happening. And I'm going to ask him some questions and get him to tell us a little bit more about what he's doing. Hi, Graham. Welcome to
Oh,
so sorry, it's Graham Abott that I have with us today. So Graham, tell us a little bit about yourself before we get started on the exhibition and where you are out in the wilderness there.
out in the Gramadulas. Yeah, 10 years ago, I sort of gave up on the whole photographic industry in Cape Town. It got a little bit, I think I burnt out. I'd been doing it for 20 or 25 years. So I decided, well, one other thing is I took my mom out of the old age home and we fled out into the country to a little town called Barrydale. So I've been in Barrydale for 10 years now, and it is a whole different change of lifestyle. But I think, it was rough, but now with COVID, it happened. It was actually a blessing. I mean, living out here is it's a whole different lifestyle. I wasn't really even affected by COVID, really. So, yep,
That's
loving it out in Bermuda. Work-wise, there's not much, but as you do, you change your plans and you recreate yourself, reinvent yourself. So, yeah,
awesome.
it's all coming together.
So tell us just to start off with a little bit about the analog exhibition that you're going to be and workshops and everything else. Sounds really exciting what you're going to be showing us in Berrydale.
This is this is our poster we've created. It's hopefully going out there, and some people have seen it. Yeah, it started with a good friend of mine, Johan Wilkie, and myself speaking last year about doing some collaborative exhibition on analog, because analogs are disappearing, especially the printing side of things, or completely. I don't think there's that many people in this country even that still print a black and white picture. So we thought, well, we'll highlight the actual beauty of black and white photography and the printing of pictures in our own exhibition. And then unfortunately, Johan passed away just over 3 months ago.
Terribly sorry to
So I
hear.
thought, well, look, so going back to where we were with this whole plan is, I thought, let's do a retrospective for Johan. And I spoke to the Barrydale Art Hotel, to Theo Nell, and he said, look, we're coming out of lockdown. Why don't we just do it in the hotel and fill the hotel with photography rather than a whole lot of other art? So there it all started. I got hold of the estate of Johan's, and they have put together 30 images, which I went down and chose. These are all hand printed images by Johan, all signed, and they framed those, and they're coming up on the 9th to be hung on the 10th. And from there onwards, it's just grown. I put together a whole body of my work, and then I just started spreading the word. And I had a good friend, Jonathan Rees, who lives in Johannesburg. He's quite well connected there. So he started speaking with Joburg photographers, and we happened to get Roger Ballon on board. And we're still hoping at the last minute that we're getting David Goldblatt's work on board. I managed to trace down Ubi Oberholzer, who I studied with, well, actually studied in PE Tech with Ian Difford, and he was great friends with Ubi. So we often went up to Rhodes and hung out with Obi, so I had to have Obi as the master color printer as part of the analog festival. So I think I've got some of the top photographers in the country with their work. So it's going well.
Awesome. And you've also got an interesting one. You're doing some workshops, and especially one that I'm very interested to find out more about is wet plate photography. Tell us a little bit about that.
All right, well, a year ago, I was looking at where the world's going with digital everything, and I thought, well, look, there's no way I can compete in this world anymore in digital. There's youngsters coming up that they grew up on a computer, they know it, backwards, and I'm still from the old school. So I thought, well, I was actually looking for some cameras to buy for my workshops, doing normal 35mm analog workshops in Barrydale, and some woman came and said to me, look, I've got this stuff in the back of the garage that you might like to look at. It's old. So I looked at it, and there was this 180-year-old, I mean, 1899, 1889 wet plate camera. And I thought, well, that's amazing. That might make quite a nice ornament. And I started looking into it, and I realized, well, wet plate is something which people still do. And I traced down Janis Boshoff, who was also doing a wet plate photography workshop with us down here next week. So Janis taught me everything, and I then became a wet plate photographer, which, sure, it's an amazing experience. It's not just the technique; it's actually the quality of work that you get and the erratic. It's a very, you never know what you're going to get. I
Yeah.
think you can't control it. It controls you, really.
Okay. Yeah. Look,
It's lovely.
I've seen some of the work that you've been doing on that, and it's awesome. I think it's really great. I've seen, yeah, it looks like also something that you can immerse yourself in the process as well. You know, and the actual making of the photograph, as I often term, you know, one
It's,
makes a
it's
photograph,
real.
one take a photograph.
It's a real skill because you need to know so many different things about pouring your collodion, and the temperatures of chemicals are very important. Otherwise, your collodion doesn't flow and your silver nitrate doesn't stick to it properly. And then you wash it off when you try and wash your glass nails afterwards. So things go wrong constantly. Which when you think you've just mastered it, you're back at square one again. But that keeps you on your toes and keeps it exciting. And I think that's why so few people do it. And it's not something that just everybody will. You need to have some experience in black and white photography over years, which I do actually, like enough.
Yeah, that's really great. And the analog scene, I mean, that seems to be coming back quite a lot. I don't think it'll ever be in the commercial domain again. I don't know, but it's very much coming back into favor amongst the art photographers and just people who are really keen on photography.
Mm. Well, I've got in touch with a group in Cape Town called the Cape Town Analog. A bunch of hipsters, young guys that have latched onto buying old cameras, and what they do is they shoot on film and then scan it. But
Yeah,
I traced them down and I convinced them to come up. Three of them came up 3 weeks ago, and we went through a weekend of shooting and then processing at my studio and printing, and
yeah,
they were blown away. When they left here, they had already planned to build their own darkroom in Cape Town. So I think once people have experienced that magic of actually seeing a picture come alive in a darkroom,
yeah.
and that original Photoshop where you use your hands to burn in and you get your little piece of wire with a piece of cardboard to hold back. I mean, it's tangible, and I think in this digital world we live in, to find something that's actually hands-on, tangible, is quite special, and I think it should be respected as an art form where it maybe isn't.
Yeah, I definitely think so, and it's something I've played around with, and I think there's no. I started marrying different formats, and I think there's one can play around a lot, and where I've also shot some stuff on film and got my old Hasselblads out. I still got my film camera out, and got my V series, my Hasselblads, and took some pictures, and then scanned, actually photographed the next with a digital back, and then the film's like 20 years old, and it's great effects. So I think there's art is something that you can play around with, and I'm even painting on my art now. That's a big thing for me.
Yeah.
In my photography, I actually take acrylics and paint and scratch and do all sorts of stuff to create artwork. So I think, yeah, the marrying of formats is not a bad thing, personally.
Do you remember, just off topic, a photographer called Crispian Plunkett
Yes,
from many years ago?
yes,
Maybe he used to take a negative and used to scratch with a pin
yeah,
and create sort of almost an etching onto a negative. And that always sort of made me see how photography, or those days, the analog photography could reach into the art world in a bigger way. And that's something that I might still try and do as well. It's lovely to see that you can get hands-on with the image, where nowadays everything's on your computer.
yeah.
It's,
So I think there's so much that one can explore in the whole field of analog photography and doing things differently, and yeah, having a lot of fun with it. So tell us a little bit about where the exhibition is going to be, and how does one contact you, and how does one get there, and where
uh,
can one stay, and all the sort of that
all
side.
right. Well, it's happening at the Karoo Art Hotel, which is the center of town. It's doing a half price special as well for all analog or all photographers that are coming up for the festival. Where normally a double room costs 1,000 rand, is going for 500. So they're really
Very good.
chopping their prices to fill it, and to also make it easier for people that we all know people are very broke after this COVID experience. So if we can help, we can try and make, I've also got a place called the Far Side where we have accommodation, caravans. It's a bit more rustic. All right. So at the hotels where most exhibitions are happening, and there'll be another house full of interesting installations just down the road where we're building a camera obscura inside the house,
Oh, wow.
and slide projections with old records. So we're taking, say, slides from 1972 and then putting on a record of 1972's music, and you have that interaction with time and the content. Um, what else can I tell you? What else did you ask me? The times, the 11th until the 19th. So
Okay.
it's actually around the corner. It's like a week and a bit away.
Not far off. So
Two
yeah,
weekends and a week in between.
okay. So it's in Barrydale. For those of you who don't know, Barrydale is in the small Karoo, could I say, that area?
Oh, yeah,
Um,
little Karoo.
Little Karoo.
Well, I explain it's 60 kilometers past Montague, or you drive to Swellendam. You take a turn off after Swellendam, just past Biffeljas, go through Seabrook, through the beautiful Trudeau Pass, and then there you are in Little Barrydale. So it's always a little bit further than most people want to drive. They'll go to Montague and then turn around, but they go to Swellendam and pass through. But oh, it's a lovely little hideaway. I call it Magic Barrydale.
Yeah, so it's a great place. I mean, I've been there a few times, and it's a lovely place to visit. And I think it's well worth the trip for all of those who want to get away in these pretty nasty times that we've had in COVID, and want to have an opportunity to actually visit somewhere different, a small town with a really interesting exhibition. As Graham has mentioned, he's got workshops, exhibitions, things that I think are coming back to life again in the whole analog photography world. And yeah, it'd be a really great opportunity to see really nice work. I mean, you've got some great exhibitors, as you mentioned. You've got Obi Overholser, you've got a number of people as well. So you've got people that as well. Maybe just fill us in a little bit on the exhibitors.
Well, we've got Tim Hopwood, Sean Wilson, we've got Hammond van Beek, who's local, myself, Johan Wilkie stuff. We've got Hada Genis and Robert Kuna. We've got, let me think, I have a list here somewhere. I'm trying to remember, it's like off the top of my head. But there's lots of individuals bringing their work as well. There's young guys bringing their work that they've printed recently. Jenny Gordon, there's Dale Udelman, Rashid Lombard, Mike Story, there's going to be Gary Herson, there's just numerous, Jean-Marc Lederman, Anton Robert, and so I think anybody I could trace down that would still have an analog picture lying in their storage container or the garage is bringing it. If anybody else would still like to, I'm still, if it's not too late for you, but I'm going down to Peter Bardnor's photo hire. He's where everybody's dropping off their work. So I'll be picking up there tomorrow if anybody would still like to enter anything.
Awesome. And so that's great. That answers my one of my questions I was about to ask. I think that pretty much covers everything. And just really encourage everybody to get down there and come along and have a look at what Graham's put together. And thanks for doing this. I think it's really great that we've got people who are so enthusiastic about our industry and our trade and what we do and bringing it to life again.
Oh yeah, there's one more thing I'd like to tell you. It's just about the Photo Voice project. Or 10% of all sales made from people's photography will go to a little project that I'm putting together, and it'll be teaching the youth in Smithsville, our little township, to become analog photographers, mostly just for them to learn how to slow down and focus on what they're doing, not just shoot everything they see, but produce a body of work about their lives in the township and how they face the struggles of life. And that too will then become an exhibition which we can have in Barrydale, and hopefully through that raise more money to help teach them analog photography and help them become photographers in their own right, which I think is, you need to give people jobs, give them the opportunity to learn a skill that they can take anywhere with them. And I've been blessed to have photography keep me alive my whole life, so I think it's something which I'd like to pass on to the next generation anyway.
Well, that's wonderful. Yeah, thanks for that. And it's really great to see that you're giving back. And I think it's so important that we do that. And then I think just the last thing, I presume you're COVID friendly and all that, the places that you're going, they come through and all the necessary precautions.
Oh yeah, the hotel itself is doing its COVID measures, so they'll have, all the spray bottles, and as long as everybody wear your mask, just be sensible. And with all the workshops we do, social distancing, and yeah, we'll have spray bottles around. But the good thing about being out in Barrydale is there's no COVID here as such as yet. Touch wood. So we
We don't
kind of
want to bring
COVID
it there
free.
either. That's the important. Yeah.
This poor Barrydale is a drive-through. Nobody stops here. They have something at diesel and cream, and then they bugger off. So you know, it hasn't COVID hasn't had a chance to latch on. The people are gone before the COVID even catches up.
Well,
So yeah,
let's not bring it
it's
there.
just yeah.
And so, yeah, thank you very much. I think, yeah, we'll get this out, and all you Capture Guru fans, please try and make a opportunity to go out if you're in the Cape area, or even if anywhere in South Africa, actually, for that matter. If you can, it's a lovely drive down to Barrydale. Good opportunity to get out and see something different and see a different part of the country. And I must say, it's an absolutely beautiful part of the country and something that you really want to go and visit, a place to see, and then at the same time see some great photography. What a wonderful opportunity. So Graham, thanks very much, and look forward to seeing you up in Barrydale.
All right, Malcolm, just one more thing. If you want to just tell your listeners and watchers to go to the Analog Photography Festival on Facebook, that's where we're doing most of our uploads. And there's hashtaggers, there's hashtag Analog Photo Festival. We'll be sharing everything on that as well. And hope to see you here. Hope you can make it up just even for a day. Just pop your head in and have a look-see. It'd be lovely to have you here.
Great. I will be there, and thanks so much. And hopefully lots of our Capture Guru fans will be there as well to come and see what's happening. Great opportunity for all you guys. Thanks very much.
Great. Look out for the poster, and we'll see you here. Fantastic. Thanks so much. Thanks, Malcolm. You're a star.
Yes. Bye.